Hello students, hope all of you are doing well. Okay, coming to the next part, and in the last part we talked about Dholavira, and today in this part we will be talking about Harappan town in Gujarat again with the next topic, that is Lothal. As you can see over here, Lothal located beside a tributary of the Sabarmati river. What does tributary mean, students? You know that a small river is passing into the main river, okay? And I give you the example in the first chapter that I am a main river that I am flowing, and when you are coming, that means you are the smaller river and you are the tributary, okay? So that is known as a tributary. So located beside a tributary of the Sabarmati river, but it is close to the Gulf of Khambat. But why it is important? Since Lothal was near a gulf, it may have had a dockyard. Now what does dockyard means? Dockyard means the ships have been anchored in those places, in the sea areas, the sea route area, where ships and boats came in the form of sea, and goods were probably loaded and unloaded here. Goods means like stones, precious stones they want to send to the Netherlands, or any good, any food they want to send to the Netherlands. So they unloaded and loaded to the another part of areas. Next we see about Lothal again. Raw materials such as semi-precious stones easily were being available. Important center for making objects out of stones, shell and metals. Some making objects, they were making important objects from those this part of out of the objects like stone, shell and metals. And a storehouse in the cities were being found of many seals and sealings. Impression of seals, that is on a clay, were found in the storehouse. In the storehouse we come to know that the many seals and sealings were being found in this place, that is in the storehouse. A workshop for making beads were being found. Pieces of stone, half made beads, tools for bead making, and finished beads were found here, and finished beads were found over here. Okay, so this part of the area we come to know that okay, here the making objects were being found of. Then impression of seals were being on the clay, that were being on the, and they were found in the storehouse. Let's see the next one, that is seals and sealings. Now what are they? As you can see on the screen again, seals and sealings. Seals may have been used to stamp the packets and bags containing goods that were sent from one place to another. After a bag was closed or tied, wet clay was applied on the knot and the seal was pressed on it. Okay, so after a bag was closed or tied, what they used to do, wet clay was being used and they applied it on the knot and the seal was pressed off. Impression of the seal on a clay is called a sealing. What is sealing known as? Impression of the seal on clay is called sealings. If the sealing was intact, one could be sure that the goods have arrived safely. That has been it's sure that the goods and had been arrived safely, means this bags have been tied off and it has been used and it has been parceled off to the other places, and very safely the bag has been gone to the another place. How did it end? That remains a mystery. Now how did this civilization end? But this makes the mystery. Major changes happened around 3,900 years ago. People stopped living in many of these cities. Why did they stop living in these cities? Writings and seals weights were no longer used. No longer it was being used of. Raw materials brought from a distant lands and became rare. Raw materials were not being found of from the now on. In Mohenjo-daro, garbage filled up on the street. All the garbage has been filled on the street. Drainage system broke down. There was no more the developed drainage system, same like how Harappan civilization had. New, less impressive and houses were being built. Okay, so new, less impressive houses were built after the decline of it. But why? Why those things had happened? Different theories by scholars. Some suggest that rivers dried up, some suggested that rivers were dried up. Okay, so we cannot find more rivers over that places. Others suggest that there was a deforestation. Now deforestation means there is a destruction of the forest. Okay. Suppose like what are the possible reasons? What are the possible reasons for the deforestation? Fuel was required for baking bricks and smelting copper ores, grazing by large herds of cattle, sheep and goat, and in some areas there were floods. So, because of this there may be a deforestation. Deforestation, when you destroy of the forest for some of the purpose, and then it becomes the barren land. Okay, all the trees have been cut off by a person and then it becomes a barren land. So, because of this suggestion, the reason of deforestation that we come to know, and the thinkers thought that maybe this might be the reason because of the deforestation or because of the floods or droughts. Okay. So, maybe it is the decline of Harappan civilization. But how could everything end together? If everything, if water were being dried off, if the floods have been, natural disasters have been occur, then we can say how could we say that everything end together? None of this reason explains the end of all the city. Okay, exact reason we do not know. Thinkers thought that maybe this reason, maybe this reason. Okay, one or another reason they start giving, but we do not know. We do not have an exact information of that particular thing, how that it has been occurred. None of this reason explains the end of all the cities. Flooding or river drying up would affect only some areas, maybe because of flooding. Another reason could be the ruler lost control. If they have not been won to the other rulers, then so they have lost their control to that particular place, they have lost their powers to that particular place, maybe because of that reason. Or what we can see, the effects. Sites in Sindh and West Punjab, that is in present day of Pakistan, were being abandoned. Many people moved into a newer, smaller settlements to the east, to the south. There were being settlements, they didn't stay in one place, they used to go to the other places, and other settlements were being happened. New cities emerged about 1400 years later, that is up to we can say 2500 years ago. So, maybe it could not everything had happened together. There are many reasons that the thinkers used to think about it. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the world, now let us talk about the another civilization. Like Harappan civilization, there were many civilizations, and among that we take one civilization, that is Egypt. Most of the Egypt is dry desert except the area of the Nile river. 5000 years ago, kings ruled over Egypt. They sent armies to distant land, bring gold, silver, ivory, timber and precious stone. So, why did they went for? They went for the distant land to bring some precious stones. Okay. They also built huge tombs called pyramids, as you can see on the screen. Okay. When kings died, their bodies were preserved. Preserved means they were being put or stored into that place and buried in the pyramids. Their preserved bodies are called mummies. Many objects like clothes, utensils, ornaments, food, drinks, weapons, animals and even serving man and women were also buried with the rulers. The person who gets passed off, okay, means with the body they used to put utensil or the clothes or the food or the ornaments. So, this all things, the objects were being found of when archaeologists studied about it. And the last point, these were among the most elaborate burials known in the world. So, this was the most elaborated thing that we come to know, and the significance, the most significant in the world we studied in this civilization. Student, the chapter is over and I hope the concept is clear. Stay safe, study well. Thank you.